Welcome back to Infidelity Tales Lab. We're incredibly grateful for your support. Before we begin today's tale, tell us, which city or country are you joining us from? We love connecting with our global audience. Now let's dive into today's story. Chapter 1. Empire Built on Trust. Nathan Sterling gripped the worn leather of his father's wallet, its creases deepening under his fingers as he stood before the admissions office at MIT. The settlement money from the construction accident that took his father's life would cover exactly 4 years. No room for failure. His mother's exhausted face flashed through his mind, dark circles under her eyes from working double shifts at the diner and cleaning offices. "I'll make it count, Dad," he whispered, pushing through the heavy doors. 20 years later, that same determination burned in his eyes as he faced down a team of Russian hackers attempting to breach Jack Morrison's casino security. His fingers flew across the keyboard, each keystroke a counter to their attack. "Sir, they're trying to backdoor through the slot machine network," called out one of his junior analysts. Nathan's response was immediate. "Lock down sectors 3 through 7. Miguel, redirect their traffic through our honeypot. Let's see who we're dealing with." Miguel Ramirez, fresh out of their Army cyber unit days, executed the commands with military precision. "Traffic rerouting, got their signatures, boss." Same group that hit the Vegas Strip last month. A smile played across Nathan's face as he initiated his trap. "Welcome to the Sterling Special, gentlemen." Within minutes, the attackers' own systems were compromised, their identities logged and traced. Jack Morrison watched from behind, his weathered face impressed by the young security expert's ruthless efficiency. The casino magnate had seen many cocky upstarts claim they could protect his empire. Nathan Sterling was different, he delivered. "How many?" Morrison asked, lighting a Cuban cigar. 7 major players, 3 dozen subsidiaries. We've got names, locations, and their entire operation mapped out." Nathan turned, meeting the older man's gaze. "Your call on how we proceed." Morrison's laugh filled the room. "Finally, someone who understands how this game is played. Deal with them. Permanently." Nathan nodded, already composing emails to certain contacts in federal agencies who owed him favors. By morning, the hacker syndicate would cease to exist, their leaders facing federal charges, their accounts drained by the same algorithms they'd tried to use on Morrison's casinos. The incident cemented Nathan's reputation and caught the attention of Silicon Valley's elite. Sterling Security Solutions expanded rapidly, securing contracts with tech giants and government agencies. But it was Morrison's continued mentorship that proved invaluable. "You've got the skills, kid," Morrison told him one evening at his private club. "But in this world, trust is the only currency that matters. Build your inner circle carefully. One betrayal can destroy an empire." Nathan took the advice to heart, starting with Thomas Hayes, his friend since their Boston days. Thomas's financial acumen complemented Nathan's technical genius perfectly. "You sure about this?" Thomas asked, reviewing the partnership agreement. 50-50 split? I can work for a salary, Nate. "This company is your baby. I trust you with my life," Nathan replied, signing the document. "We build this together or not at all." Their breakthrough year brought in 9-figure contracts and an invitation to Morrison's annual charity gala. Nathan remembered his mother's voice. "Stand straight. Look them in the eye. You're as good as any of them." He wasn't prepared for Victoria Pierce. She commanded attention the moment she entered, but not in the obvious way of most socialites. Her intelligence shone through in her conversations, discussing everything from quantum computing to Renaissance art with genuine passion. "The trust fund crowd must bore you to tears," she said, approaching him at the bar. Nathan studied her over his scotch. "Speaking from experience?" "Unfortunately," she claimed a seat beside him. "Victoria Pierce. And yes, before you ask, those Pierces. Though I prefer to distance myself from the family fortune." Nathan Sterling. "And I prefer to build my own." Her smile held genuine appreciation. "Sterling Security Solutions. Your reputation precedes you, particularly the way you handled the Russian hacker situation. You're well informed. I'll make it my business to be." She leaned closer, her perfume subtle but intoxicating. "Just like I know you're revolutionizing the entire security industry while these people waste millions on vanity projects." Their conversation flowed effortlessly, touching on business, technology, and their shared vision of merit over inherited privilege. As the evening wore on, Jack Morrison observed them with growing interest. "She's Pierce Money," he warned Nathan later. "Old money, old power. Be careful." Nathan appreciated the concern, but Victoria proved herself different from her privileged peers. She threw herself into understanding his business, offering insights that showed genuine business acumen. Their courtship was intense, intellectual, and passionate. Victoria matched him in ambition and drive, never flinching from his workaholic tendencies because she shared them. When he proposed 6 months later, her answer came with a business proposal. "Let me handle our marketing and public relations," she said, laying out a comprehensive strategy. "You're brilliant with technology, but in today's market, perception is as important as performance." They married in a private ceremony, with Thomas Hayes as best man and Jack Morrison giving the bride away, a detail that raised eyebrows in Victoria's social circle. Her parents attended but left early, disapproving of their daughter marrying new money. Victoria proved her worth immediately. Her marketing strategies and social connections doubled their client base within a year. She had an intuitive understanding of client psychology that complemented Nathan's technical expertise perfectly. Thomas's wife Amanda, a forensic accountant, began consulting for them, strengthening their financial controls. The company became a family affair with loyalty and trust at its core. "We're building something special here," Nathan told his inner circle during a private dinner. "Something that will last generations." Chapter 2: Cracks in the Foundation. The first signs were subtle. Victoria began spending more time in private meetings with Richard Blackwell after he joined their board. Their paths crossed frequently at charity events and industry functions, their conversations intense and animated. "He brings valuable connections," Victoria argued when Nathan questioned Blackwell's aggressive expansion proposals. "The venture capital world respects him." Nathan trusted his wife's judgment, but something about Blackwell set off warning bells. The man carried himself with an air of superiority that grated on Nathan's nerves. Catherine Walsh, Victoria's dedicated assistant, noticed the changes first. Victoria's calendar filled with mysterious appointments and private lunches. Her attendance at Dr. Isabella Romano's retreats became frequent, marked only as personal development in her schedule. "Mrs. Sterling seems different lately," Catherine confided to Diane Martinez, the head of HR, during a coffee break. "All these books about evolutionary psychology and social dynamics." She quoted something about alpha females 3 times during this morning's meeting. Diane, who'd known Victoria since college, shared Catherine's concerns. "She's always been ambitious, but this feels different." Richard Blackwell's influence, maybe? The situation escalated during a board meeting discussing Project Sentinel, their revolutionary AI security system. Miguel Ramirez presented the technical specifications, only to be interrupted by Blackwell. "The system needs certain modifications," Blackwell insisted, his voice smooth as oil. "For flexibility." "You mean backdoors," Miguel countered, years of military cybersecurity experience evident in his tone, "which would compromise the entire platform." Victoria sided with Blackwell, surprising many in the room. "Richard's suggestions have merit. We need to consider market realities." Nathan watched the exchange silently, noting how Victoria's hand brushed Blackwell's arm as she spoke. His face revealed nothing, but Thomas recognized the dangerous glint in his friend's eyes. Later that day, Miguel approached Nathan privately. "Boss, those backdoors they want? They're not just security risks, they're targeted, designed to access specific types of systems. Military-grade stuff." Nathan's expression hardened. "Document everything. Keep building according to our original specs, but let them think you're implementing their changes." The company's dynamics shifted subtly. Victoria spent more time with her new circle, Blackwell, Dr. Romano, and various thought leaders she met at exclusive retreats. Her conversation became peppered with phrases about conscious partnerships and evolved relationship paradigms. Catherine struggled with her loyalties. Victoria had helped her brother into an exclusive rehabilitation facility, giving him a chance at recovery. But the changes in her boss worried her deeply. One evening, working late, Catherine overheard Victoria and Blackwell in Victoria's office. Their voices were low, intimate. She began documenting everything: meetings, conversations, changes in company policy. Her brother's recovery couldn't justify ignoring what she suspected was happening. Diane Martinez noticed too. During a corporate leadership retreat, she watched Victoria and Blackwell during team-building exercises. Their body language screamed intimacy, though they maintained professional distance. I should warn Nathan, Diane thought, but remembered Victoria knew secrets from their college days, secrets that could destroy Diane's marriage. The situation came to a head during a presentation about Sentinel to potential government clients. Nathan led the technical demonstration while Victoria handled the business aspects. Blackwell attended as board oversight. The system's adaptive algorithms, Nathan explained, can predict and prevent security breaches before they occur. What sets Sentinel apart is its absolute integrity. No backdoors, no vulnerabilities. Blackwell cleared his throat. Though we're exploring certain customization options for special clients, the tension in the room was palpable. Victoria quickly smoothed things over with practice charm, but Nathan saw several military representatives exchange concerned glances. After the presentation, Nathan called Miguel into his office. Tell me everything about those backdoor requests. Detail, specification they wanted. Miguel laid out the technical documentation. They're designed to interface with special hardware, the kind used by intelligence agencies, boss, and not just ours. Nathan's expression remained neutral, but his eyes turned to ice. Keep playing along. I want to see how deep this goes. That evening, Nathan worked late, reviewing security footage, email logs, and meeting recordings. A pattern emerged, one that confirmed his growing suspicions about his wife and Blackwell. Victoria found him still in his office at midnight. You're working too hard, darling. Come home. He looked up at her, his face unreadable. Just finishing some security updates. Don't wait up. She kissed his cheek, her perfume different from her usual scent. As she left, Nathan opened a secure line to Jack Morrison. Remember what you told me about trust? Nathan's voice was cold. I need everything you have on Richard Blackwell. Everything. Morrison's response was immediate. Finally noticed, did you? I'll have it to you by morning. And Nathan? Remember what I taught you about dealing with betrayal? Nathan ended the call, his wedding ring glinting under the office lights. In his desk drawer, a file was already growing. Emails, photos, financial records. The foundation of an empire built on trust was cracking, but Nathan Sterling hadn't survived this long by being naive. The game was changing, and he intended to win, whatever the cost. Chapter 3. The Dinner Party. The Sterling mansion hummed with activity as staff prepared for the 10th anniversary celebration. Nathan adjusted his cufflinks, platinum pieces Victoria had given him last Christmas, as he reviewed security footage on his tablet. 60 guests would attend, board members, investors, and key players in their corporate world. Victoria fluttered through the house, directing decorators and caterers with champagne already in hand. Her laughter carried up to his study, slightly too loud, slightly too frequent. Everything's set, Thomas reported, entering after a discreet knock. Security teams are in position, and Laura Chun has the recording equipment ready. Nathan nodded, his focus on the tablet showing Richard Blackwell's arrival. And Jack Morrison? Just pulled up. He's brought an interesting guest, someone from Macau's gaming commission. A thin smile crossed Nathan's face. Perfect. The evening unfolded like a carefully choreographed dance. Nathan played the gracious host, Victoria the charming hostess, while Richard Blackwell worked the room with practiced ease. Jack Morrison watched it all, nursing a single malt scotch in the corner. Quite a gathering, Morrison commented as Nathan joined him briefly. Shame about some of the company. Nathan's response was measured. Every player has their part. Speaking of players, Morrison's voice dropped lower. Your boy Blackwell caused quite a stir in Macau last year. Left some very unhappy people in his wake. Do tell. Their conversation was interrupted by the dinner announcement. Victoria had arranged the seating with obvious care. Nathan at one end, she at the other, with Blackwell positioned prominently near her. Laura Chun, their rising legal star, activated her phone's recording function under the table. The dinner conversation flowed, guided by Victoria's social expertise, until Blackwell stood for his toast. To modern business, He raised his glass, his confidence bordering on arrogance. And to evolving social structures that recognize the need for dynamic partnerships. Victoria's responding laugh drew attention. She stood, champagne glass wavering slightly. "Richard understands what so few do," she announced. "Alpha females naturally need multiple partners to fulfill their potential. It's biological, really. Dr. Romano explains it so well in her seminars." The room fell silent. Nathan cut his steak, his movements deliberate and controlled. Thomas gripped his wine glass tightly, watching his friend's face for any sign of reaction. Catherine Walsh, seated near the kitchen entrance, barely touched her food. Her phone buzzed silently. Another message from Victoria's private account automatically forwarding to her secure email. Diane Martinez studied Victoria's flushed face, remembering their college days when Victoria had shown the same reckless streak. But this was different. This wasn't a sorority party. This was her friend playing with fire. Fascinating theory. Jack Morrison's voice cut through the tension. "Though in my experience, true alphas, male or female, understand the value of loyalty." His eyes met Victoria's across the table. "And the cost of betrayal." Victoria's smile faltered slightly. She sat down, suddenly very interested in her wine glass. Blackwell smoothly changed the subject to their recent stock performance, but the damage was done. The dinner proceeded with forced normality, but undercurrents of tension rippled through the room. Laura Chen's phone captured everything. The loaded glances, the subtle touches between Victoria and Blackwell, the reactions of key players. Later, as guests began departing, Nathan maintained his composed facade. He shook hands, discussed business, played the perfect host. Only Thomas noticed how his friend's eyes tracked Victoria and Blackwell's every movement. The last guests left close to midnight. Victoria, unsteady from champagne, kissed Nathan's cheek before heading upstairs. "Coming to bed, darling?" "Shortly," he replied, his voice neutral. "Just need to review some contracts." In their bedroom, Victoria didn't notice her phone sliding from her evening bag as she disappeared into the bathroom. Nathan picked it up, noting the lack of a password. Victoria never could remember them when drinking. Messages filled the screen. 6 months of conversations with Blackwell, ranging from flirtatious to explicit. Plans for company takeover, discussions of Sentinel's capabilities, proposed deals with foreign investors. But most damning were the messages to unknown numbers, offering technical specifications that would compromise national security. Nathan forwarded everything to his secure server, then replaced the phone exactly where it fell. When Victoria emerged from the bathroom, he was already in his study, making calls. "It's time," he told Jack Morrison. "How quickly can you buy those board seats we discussed?" Morrison's response was immediate. "Consider it done. And the other matter?" "Yes. Release everything you have on Blackwell's Macau operations." "All of it?" Nathan ended the call and opened his desk drawer. Inside, a thick file contained months of surveillance, financial records, and documented betrayals. Victoria thought she was the alpha female, playing a sophisticated game. She never realized she was playing checkers while Nathan played chess. He opened his laptop and began composing emails to Gloria Patterson, the ruthless divorce attorney, to federal contacts interested in corporate espionage, to military officials concerned about compromised security systems. Each message was a piece of ammunition in the war to come. The mansion grew quiet as the cleaning staff finished their work. In the master bedroom, Victoria slept soundly, unaware that her world was about to implode. Nathan worked through the night, his resolve hardened by years of his mother's sacrifices and his father's absence. Trust, once broken, could never be repaired. And Nathan Sterling had learned long ago that mercy to traitors was cruelty to loyal friends. The game was ending, but the real war was just beginning. Chapter 4: Silent Warfare. Nathan Sterling sat in his home office at 3 a.m., reviewing the messages from Victoria's phone. His face remained impassive as he transferred data to an encrypted drive. No signs of rage, no emotional outbursts, just pure, calculated focus. The phone buzzed with a new message from Richard Blackwell, "Missing you already. Can't wait for tomorrow's budget meeting." Nathan's lips curved slightly as he added the message to his growing collection. A soft knock interrupted his work. "Come in, Thomas." Thomas Hayes entered, carrying 2 cups of coffee. "Thought you might need this." "How bad is it?" "Worse than we anticipated." Nathan turned his laptop screen, showing Thomas the evidence of Victoria's betrayal. She's not just sleeping with him. They're planning to sell Sentinel's capabilities to foreign buyers. Thomas sank into a chair, his face grim. "Jesus, Snake. What's the play?" "First, we get Gloria Patterson on board." Nathan pulled up the lawyer's contact information. "She handled the Zuckerberg divorce. She'll understand what we're dealing with." The next morning, Nathan maintained his usual routine. He kissed Victoria goodbye, complimented her new dress, and headed to the office. She never noticed the dead look in his eyes. Gloria Patterson's office exuded power and success. The lawyer studied Nathan over her rimless glasses. Her reputation for destroying unfaithful spouses evident in the shark-like gleam of her eyes. "Tell me everything," she commanded. "Leave nothing out." Nathan laid out the evidence, the affairs, the corporate espionage, the planned betrayal. Gloria's smile grew predatory. "Mr. Sterling, this isn't just a divorce case. This is corporate treason." She leaned forward. "How far are you willing to go?" "All the way." Gloria nodded approvingly. "Good. First, we document everything. Then we destroy them so thoroughly they'll never recover." Nathan's next stop was a discreet meeting with Marcus Reynolds, a former Delta Force operator he'd worked with on government contracts. "I need a security team," Nathan explained. "Top-tier surveillance, complete documentation. Nothing illegal. Everything needs to hold up in court." Reynolds, built like a brick wall and twice as solid, reviewed the requirements. "You want eyes on your wife and this Blackwell characters? On them and everyone they meet. I want to know who they talk to, what they discuss, where the money flows. Consider it done." Reynolds paused. "Sir, given the sensitive nature of your company's work, should we treat this as a potential national security issue?" Nathan's expression darkened. "Already handled. I have some FBI contacts looking into Blackwell's connections." Detective James Cooper, Nathan's old friend from their Boston neighborhood, proved invaluable. His unofficial investigation into Richard Blackwell revealed disturbing patterns. 3 companies he's taken over, Cooper reported during a late-night meeting. 3 CEOs who died under suspicious circumstances. Heart attacks, suicide, car accident. All perfectly explainable, all conveniently timed. And the arms dealer connections? Cooper slid over a file. Russian mob ties, Chinese military contacts. Your boy Blackwell's been playing both sides for years. The feds are very interested. Meanwhile, Catherine Walsh struggled with her conscience. Victoria had helped her brother into rehab, given him a chance at life. But the evidence of betrayal mounted daily. She sat in her small apartment, staring at her laptop screen. Emails, calendar entries, private messages, all documenting Victoria's descent into what she called evolved relationships, but what Catherine recognized as pure selfishness. A message popped up from Victoria. "Need you to handle some special accounts. Discretion required." Catherine's hands trembled as she typed her response. "Of course, Mrs. Sterling." Then she forwarded the entire exchange to her private email, adding to her growing documentation. Thomas watched his friend navigate the crisis. Nathan showed no signs of emotional distress, no hints of the rage he must feel. Instead, he moved pieces into position like a grandmaster, setting up checkmate. "You're terrifying when you're like this," Thomas commented one evening. Nathan looked up from his work. "They betrayed my trust, threatened my company, and endangered national security. Being emotional would be a luxury we can't afford." Victoria and Richard grew bolder, convinced their secret was safe. They met in high-end hotels, discussed their plans over encrypted messages, and dreamed of their future together. Nathan so focused on his precious technology. Victoria laughed during one meeting, unaware of Reynolds' surveillance team recording everything. "He has no idea what's coming." Richard pulled her close. "Soon, darling. Once we have control of Sentinel, we'll be unstoppable." Neither noticed the discreet cameras capturing their every move or the microphones picking up their every word. Nathan's web drew tighter with each passing day. Gloria Patterson worked tirelessly, building an airtight case. "We've got them on corporate espionage, wire fraud, and potential treason," she reported. The divorce will be the least of their problems. Nathan nodded, his focus on the endgame. Make sure everything's ready. When we move all at once. The pieces were in place. The trap was set. Nathan Sterling, the boy who grew up watching his mother work herself to exhaustion, prepared to show the world what happened to those who mistook his trust for weakness. Chapter 5. Countermoves. Protocol 0 activated. Nathan announced to his inner circle. The hidden program he'd built into Sterling's security systems years ago began its work, systematically copying evidence of betrayal. Miguel Ramirez monitored the data flow, his military training evident in his precise movements. Boss, they're trying to access Sentinel's core architecture again. Let them think they're succeeding. Nathan's voice held no emotion. Feed them the modified code we prepared. The false version of Sentinel contains subtle traps, backdoors that would activate only if someone tried to steal the system. Victoria's team, led by Richard's tech experts, fell for it completely. Rebecca Turner, the FBI agent Nathan had helped years ago, sat in her office reviewing the evidence he'd provided. Her eyes widened as connections emerged. Sir, she called her superior, you need to see this. Richard Blackwell's ties to foreign intelligence services go deeper than we thought. The investigation expanded, revealing a web of corruption spanning continents. Each thread led back to Blackwell and his ambitious plans for Sentinel. Victoria noticed subtle changes in Nathan. His new workout routine, designer suits, late nights at the office. Paranoia crept in. He's up to something, she told Richard during a clandestine meeting. I know him. Relax, darling. Richard dismissed her concerns. He's probably just trying to improve himself for you. Men do that when they feel threatened. Victoria wasn't convinced. She hired Xavier Price, a private investigator known for his discretion and lack of moral constraints. Price tracked Nathan's movements, unaware that Reynolds' team was tracking him in turn. The investigator discovered Nathan's meetings with Gloria Patterson, but missed their true significance. He's seeing a lawyer, Price reported to Victoria. A divorce specialist. Victoria's face paled. Find out everything. Price dug deeper, uncovering Gloria's reputation for destroying unfaithful spouses. He saw an opportunity for profit. Mrs. Sterling, he proposed smoothly. This information could be worth a lot. To both sides. Victoria's response was immediate. Name your price. But Price made a fatal mistake. He attempted to blackmail Nathan directly. Nathan's response came through Marcus Reynolds. The former Delta Force operator paid Price a visit, his message clear. Mr. Sterling sends his regards. And a warning. Price tried playing both sides, unaware he was adding to Nathan's arsenal of evidence. Each attempted blackmail, each recorded conversation, strengthened the case against Victoria and Richard. Meanwhile, Miguel worked tirelessly to secure Sentinel's true code while feeding disinformation to Victoria's team. They're trying to transfer data to offshore servers, he reported to Nathan. Singapore, Macau, Moscow. Nathan's response was cold. Track everything. Document who receives what. We'll need it for the federal investigation. Victoria grew increasingly uneasy. Nathan seemed different, controlled, focused, almost predatory. She doubled her meetings with Dr. Isabella Romano, seeking reassurance. You're an alpha female, Romano insisted during one session. You deserve to follow your true nature. But even Romano's confident assertions couldn't quiet Victoria's growing fear. She began monitoring Nathan's activities more closely, never realizing she was playing directly into his hands. Catherine Walsh watched the drama unfold, continuing to document everything. Victoria's requests grew more questionable, more desperate. I need you to create some special accounts, Victoria instructed. Off the books. For consulting fees. Catherine nodded obediently while forwarding the evidence to her secure email. Her brother's recovery couldn't justify enabling what she now recognized as treason. Thomas observed his friend's transformation with a mixture of awe and concern. Nathan operated, each move calculated for maximum impact. You've thought of everything, Thomas commented during a private meeting. Nathan's response was chilling. When you destroy someone, you do it completely. No half measures. The pressure mounted. Victoria's team made increasingly aggressive moves to access Sentinel's core architecture. Richard pushed for faster progress, his foreign contacts growing impatient. "We need that technology," he insisted during a board meeting. "The market demands innovation." Nathan appeared to yield, allowing them access to what they thought was Sentinel's complete code. In reality, they were walking into an elaborate trap. Gloria Patterson reviewed the mounting evidence with satisfaction. "We've got them on multiple felonies," she reported. "The divorce will be the least of their concerns." Nathan's plan approached its climax. Each betrayal, each secret meeting, each attempted theft strengthened his position. The trap was nearly ready to spring. Chapter 6. The Trap. The Sterling Security Solutions boardroom buzzed with anticipation. Victoria and Richard arrived for the emergency meeting radiating confidence, thinking their plan was still secret. Nathan sat at the head of the table, his posture relaxed, almost bored. Thomas flanked him on one side, Gloria Patterson on the other. Jack Morrison watched from the back, savoring the moment. "Thank you all for coming," Nathan began, his voice neutral. "We have some urgent matters to discuss." Victoria touched Richard's arm reassuringly, missing the predatory gleam in her husband's eyes. The gesture was caught on camera, adding to the mountain of evidence. "First," Nathan continued, "let's address the unauthorized access attempts to our systems." He pressed a button, and screens around the room lit up with surveillance footage, email records, and financial transactions. Richard's face remained composed, but his knuckles whitened. "What is this?" "Evidence." Nathan's voice turned arctic. "Of corporate espionage, wire fraud, and attempted treason." Victoria laughed, but the sound held a note of desperation. "Darling, you're being paranoid. These are normal business operations." "Normal?" Nathan pressed another button. Audio filled the room. Victoria and Richard discussing selling Sentinel's capabilities to foreign buyers. "Is this normal too?" The color drained from Victoria's face as her own voice betrayed her. "Once we push Nathan out, we'll have complete control. The Chinese military's offer alone is worth billions." Federal agents entered silently, taking positions around the room. Richard's eyes darted to the exits, calculating odds. "Don't," Nathan advised coldly. "You're already surrounded." Jack Morrison chuckled from his corner. "Did you really think you could steal from Nathan Sterling and get away with it?" Gloria Patterson rose, serving papers with professional efficiency. "Mrs. Sterling, you're being served with divorce papers. The criminal charges will be handled separately." Victoria's carefully constructed world crumbled. She turned to Richard for support, but he was already trying to reach his lawyer. "You can't do this," she protested. "I helped build this company." "Did you?" Nathan's voice cut like a blade. "Or did you just plan its destruction?" He played another recording, Victoria offering company secrets to their competitors. Dr. Isabella Romano burst in, attempting to defend Victoria. "This is simply evolved relationship dynamics." Victoria was expressing her true nature. "Save it," Lorichin interrupted, presenting evidence linking Romano's retreats to money laundering operations. "The FBI is very interested in your evolved financial practices." Richard made a break for it, shoving past agents. He made it to the elevator before Marcus Reynolds' team intercepted him. The former Special Forces operator personally escorted him back in handcuffs. "Richard Blackwell," Rebecca Turner stepped forward, displaying her FBI badge. "You're under arrest for conspiracy, corporate espionage, and attempted treason." Victoria watched in horror as federal agents led Richard away. Her phone buzzed, Xavier Price attempting to blackmail her one last time. She ignored it, facing Nathan instead. "I can explain everything," she began. Nathan's response was ice. "Save it for your lawyer. You'll need a good one." He turned to Gloria Patterson. "Make sure she gets nothing." "Already handled," Gloria assured him. "The prenup violations alone." Thomas watched his friend's calculated destruction of those who betrayed him. Nathan showed no triumph, no satisfaction, just cold, implacable purpose. The boardroom cleared slowly. Victoria left in tears, escorted by security. Richard departed in handcuffs. Dr. Romano was led away for questioning. "Was it worth it?" Jack Morrison asked Victoria as she passed. "Betraying the one man who would have given you everything." She had no answer. Nathan didn't even watch her go. "Well played," Morrison told Nathan afterward. Your father would have been proud. Nathan gathered his evidence files, his expression unchanging. Trust, once broken, can never be repaired. They chose their fate. The news broke within hours. Sterling Security Solutions stock dipped briefly before soaring as investors recognized Nathan's decisive protection of company assets. Catherine Walsh provided her complete documentation to federal investigators, ensuring her brothers continued care in the process. Miguel's team secured Sentinel's true code, removing all compromised elements. Thomas found Nathan in his office late that night, reviewing reports of Richard's arrest. It's done, Thomas said simply. Nathan nodded, his voice distant. No, it's just beginning. Tomorrow we start dismantling everything they built, everyone they brought in. By the time I'm finished, their names will be synonymous with failure. The trap had sprung perfectly, but Nathan Sterling wasn't finished. This was just the first phase of his retaliation against those who dared betray his trust. Chapter 7. Scorched Earth. The morning after the board meeting, Nathan Sterling sat in his office reviewing Detective Cooper's latest findings on Richard Blackwell's past. 3 CEOs dead under suspicious circumstances, each death perfectly staged. The pattern's clear, Cooper explained, spreading photos across the desk. First company, CEO has a heart attack right after Blackwell joins the board. Second one, car accident during a hostile takeover attempt. Third, apparent suicide during merger negotiations. Nathan studied the images, and now we have proof. Found a connection. Cooper tapped the document. Same shell company made payments to offshore accounts after each death. Traced it back to Blackwell through 6 layers of proxies. The detective's phone buzzed. Another body just dropped. Xavier Price. Nathan's expression didn't change. The private investigator Victoria hired? Found in his apartment. Staged to look like suicide. Cooper paused. Russian mob's been asking questions about him. Something about arms deals. Make sure the evidence points where it should. Cooper nodded, understanding perfectly. Already on it. By the way, those cold cases we reopened? They're singing like canaries. Blackwell's empire is crumbling. Victoria's public fall was spectacular. Laura Chun had released selected evidence to the media. Emails, photos, recorded conversations. Each revelation destroyed another piece of Victoria's carefully crafted image. Did you see this? Thomas asked, showing Nathan a news article on his tablet. Victoria Pierce Sterling, from corporate queen to pariah. The article detailed Victoria's multiple affairs, including her dalliance with Xavier Price. Her social circle abandoned her with brutal efficiency. I heard she tried to get into the Century Club yesterday, Diane Martinez reported during a staff meeting. They revoked her membership. Publicly, Catherine Walsh watched the destruction from her new office. Nathan had promoted her to Director of Operations after she provided complete documentation of Victoria's crimes. Your brother's treatment is fully covered, Nathan told her. And I've reviewed his business proposal. The startup funding will be available next week. Catherine's voice trembled. Mr. Sterling, I can't thank you enough. Loyalty deserves rewards, he cut in. Just like betrayal deserves consequences. Miguel Ramirez and his team worked around the clock, scrubbing Sentinel's code of any compromises while strengthening its core architecture. The back doors they tried to implement? Miguel reported. They weren't just for corporate espionage. They could have given foreign military access to any system Sentinel protected. Nathan's response was cold. Make sure that information reaches the federal prosecutors. Richard Blackwell's imprisonment sparked international investigations. Rebecca Turner led the FBI's task force, uncovering connections to arms dealers, foreign intelligence services, and organized crime. He was selling more than corporate secrets, Turner briefed Nathan. The technology theft was just a cover for weapons trafficking. Your wife had no idea who she was really dealing with. Nathan's phone buzzed with a message from Gloria Patterson. Victoria's trying to claim mental instability from Dr. Romano's influence. Want me to destroy that defense? Do it, he replied. Gloria's team released evidence linking Romano's retreats to money laundering operations. The relationship guru's empire collapsed overnight, her clients scrambling to distance themselves. The conscious infidelity movement is finished, Diane commented. watching Romano's arrest on the news. Along with anyone who followed it, Victoria attempted damage control, giving interviews about temporary insanity and manipulation. Each appearance dug her grave deeper. I was vulnerable, she claimed on a morning show. Dr. Romano's teachings about alpha females. The host interrupted with evidence of Victoria's premeditation, her calculated betrayals, her attempts to sell national security assets to foreign powers. Nathan watched the interview impassively while signing documents Gloria had prepared. Victoria would get nothing in the divorce. Not money, not property, not even her designer wardrobe. She violated the prenup 17 different ways, Gloria explained with professional satisfaction. I've seen bitter divorces, but you've set a new standard for total destruction. Detective Cooper's investigation expanded, connecting dots across continents. Found links between Blackwell and 3 terrorist organizations. He was going to sell them Sentinel's capabilities through cutouts. Make sure Homeland Security gets everything, Nathan instructed. The evidence mounted daily. Victoria's attempts to sell company secrets. Richard's connections to suspicious deaths. Dr. Romano's money laundering. Each revelation strengthened Nathan's position while destroying his enemies. You're not just burying them, Thomas observed. You're salting the earth. Nathan's response was simple. They try to take everything from me. Fair is fair. Chapter 8. The New Order. Sterling Security Solutions emerged from the crisis stronger than ever. Nathan's ruthless elimination of threats proved to clients that he could protect their interests as fiercely as his own. The reorganization starts today, he announced to his leadership team. Thomas, your COO. Diane, Chief of Strategic Development. Amanda, CFO. Laura takes over legal. Each promotion rewarded proven loyalty. Each position filled by someone who had stood firm during the crisis. One more thing, Nathan added. Catherine Walsh is our new Director of Operations. Her brother's startup receives full funding and support. The message was clear. Loyalty brought rewards. Betrayal brought destruction. Laura Chin worked closely with Rebecca Turner, ensuring all investigations proceeded smoothly. Their collaboration uncovered deeper layers of corruption. Found something interesting, Laura reported, bringing Nathan a file. Victoria wasn't just selling secrets to our competitors. She was feeding information to her family's political connections. Nathan's eyes narrowed. The Pierce family involvement? They wanted Sentinel's capabilities for private use. Something about monitoring political rivals. Send everything to Turner. Let's see how the Pierce family handles federal investigations. The old money families that had looked down on Nathan now face their own crises. Victoria's fall dragged down everyone connected to her schemes. Amanda Hayes implemented new financial controls, making the company's operations transparent while securing against future threats. Triple redundancy on all major transactions, she explained during a board meeting. Any irregularity triggers immediate alerts. Victoria made one last desperate attempt at reconciliation. She appeared at Nathan's office unannounced, her designer clothes replaced by simple business wear. Nathan, please, she begged. I wasn't thinking clearly. Dr. Romano's influence. Stop. His voice cut like a knife. You weren't manipulated. You were confused. You were greedy and arrogant. I'll do anything to fix this. Nathan smiled, the expression chilling. It's already fixed. Check the business news tomorrow. The next day's headlines announced Sterling Security's acquisition of their largest competitor, bought using Victoria and Richard's own money, funneled through shell companies Morrison had helped establish. Beautiful move, Morrison congratulated him. Using their greed to finance their own destruction. Marcus Reynolds' security team thwarted 2 attempted corporate espionage operations in the aftermath. Former associates of Blackwell tried to steal what he had failed to acquire. They never learn, Reynolds reported after capturing the second team. Want us to handle it quietly? Nathan considered. No, make it public. Let everyone see what happens to those who try to steal from us. The message resonated throughout the industry. Sterling Security's reputation for protecting assets and destroying threats grew stronger with each incident. Thomas watched his friend's transformation with a mixture of admiration and concern. The boy from Boston had become a corporate titan who dealt with betrayal as ruthlessly as any crime boss. The company's stronger than ever, Thomas noted during a private meeting. Stock price has doubled. Triple redundancy wasn't enough, Nathan replied. We're implementing new security protocols. No one gets close enough to betray us again. Laura Chen's legal department crafted ironclad contracts, while Rebecca Turner's FBI team monitored for international threats. The partnership between corporate and federal forces created an impenetrable defense. Your security measures are becoming industry standard, Turner commented. 3 tech giants have already adopted them. Nathan nodded. Fear of consequences is the best deterrent. Chapter 9. Alpha and Omega. 1 year after Victoria's fall, Nathan hosted another dinner party. The guest list was selective. Only those who had proven their absolute loyalty. Jack Morrison raised his glass. To Nathan Sterling, the man who proved trust is earned and betrayal has consequences. The old casino magnate had watched his protégé's handling of the crisis with pride. Nathan had surpassed his expectations, becoming the son he never had. I'm announcing it tonight, Morrison told him privately. You're my heir apparent, casinos, real estate, everything. Nathan accepted with a single nod. I'll protect your legacy. You'll expand it, Morrison corrected. You understand what I've always preached. Trust is the only currency that matters. The merger announcement drew international attention. Sterling Solutions combined with its former competitor, creating the largest security technology company in the world. Victoria watched the news from her studio apartment, her fall complete. The former socialite now worked as a junior marketing associate, her prestigious connections destroyed by Nathan's systematic revenge. The alpha female thing didn't work out, her new supervisor asked mockingly. Maybe try beta next time? Richard wrote letters from prison, offering information about other board members' crimes in exchange for leniency. Nathan never bothered reading them. Blackwell's asking for a deal, Turner reported. Says he has evidence about other corporate conspiracies. Let him rot, Nathan replied. Detective Cooper, now Captain Cooper, closed the last of the cold cases connected to Blackwell's past ventures. Each investigation revealed deeper layers of corruption. The task force is permanent now, Cooper informed Nathan, focusing on corporate crimes and technology theft. You created something important here. Rachel Conway, Nathan's new girlfriend, brought fresh perspectives to Sentinel's development. Her quantum computing expertise promised to make the system unbreakable. The quantum encryption protocols are revolutionary, she explained during a presentation. No conventional computer could crack them. Unlike Victoria, Rachel understood the value of loyalty. She worked with Miguel's team to enhance Sentinel's capabilities while maintaining its ethical constraints. Thomas found Nathan in his office late one night, reviewing security protocols. Was it worth it? Thomas asked. The total destruction of everyone who betrayed you? Nathan's smile was cold. The best revenge isn't serving it cold. It's serving it thoroughly. He looked around at the empire he'd built, the loyal friends and family he'd gathered. Victoria had thought him weak because he trusted. She never understood that trust had to be earned and protected at all costs. Miguel's team celebrated the launch of Sentinel 2.0, featuring Rachel's quantum encryption. The system's first contract brought everything full circle, protecting Morrison's expanding casino empire. Full protection this time, Nathan promised his mentor. No one gets close enough to betray us again. Morrison clapped his shoulder. You've built something remarkable, son. Not just the technology, the reputation. Everyone knows now. Betraying Nathan Sterling is suicide. The message had indeed spread. Victoria's fate served as a cautionary tale in corporate circles. Richard Blackwell's destruction warned against crossing Sterling security. Even Dr. Romano's fall showed the consequences of facilitating betrayal. Nathan's new inner circle was stronger, bound by proven loyalty and shared success. Thomas and Amanda managed finances. Laura's legal department created unbreakable contracts. Catherine's operations ran with military efficiency. To the future, Nathan toasted at the end of the dinner party. Built on trust, protected by strength, the guests raised their glasses, each understanding the deeper meaning. They had witnessed Nathan Sterling's response to betrayal. None would dare risk the same fate. In her studio apartment, Victoria finished another late night at her entry-level job. The news played in the background. Sterling Securities stock hitting new highs. Nathan's engagement to Rachel Conway, the company's expanding global influence. She opened her mail to find divorce papers. Gloria Patterson's work was thorough. Victoria would get nothing from her years as Mrs. Sterling. Her prenup violations had cost her everything. Richard Blackwell sat in his prison cell, writing another letter Nathan would never read. Federal investigations had uncovered all his secrets, destroying the empire he'd built through murder and manipulation. The alpha male had been outplayed. The conscious infidelity movement was a cautionary tale. Nathan Sterling had taught the business world an unforgettable lesson about loyalty, trust, and the price of betrayal. Rachel worked late in her quantum lab, developing new protections for Sentinel 2.0. She understood what Victoria never had. True partnership meant standing together, not scheming apart. Nathan's revenge was complete, but his vision extended beyond mere destruction. He had built something greater from the ashes of betrayal, an empire founded on loyalty, protected by power, and secured by the knowledge that trust, once earned, must be fiercely protected. The story of Nathan Sterling became legend in corporate circles, not just for his success, but for his response to betrayal. In boardrooms across the world, executives learned to fear the man who served revenge, not just cold, but thoroughly. Epilogue: 10 years later, Nathan Sterling stood atop the Sterling Morrison Tower, the newest addition to the Las Vegas skyline. At 50, his presence commanded even more respect than in his younger years. The devastating revenge he'd enacted against Victoria and Richard Blackwell had become a cautionary tale in corporate circles. The quarterly numbers are exceptional, Thomas Hayes reported, joining his friend at the observation deck. Now COO of the merged Sterling Morrison empire, Thomas had helped expand their reach beyond security technology into global entertainment and hospitality. Jack would have loved this view, Nathan remarked, thinking of his late mentor. Morrison had passed 3 years ago, leaving Nathan his entire empire. The merger of Sterling Security Solutions with Morrison's casino operations had created an unprecedented corporate powerhouse. Rachel's quantum encryption team just landed another government contract, Thomas added. The DoD wants Sentinel 4.0 implemented across all their networks. Nathan's marriage to Rachel Conway had proved both personally and professionally rewarding. Unlike Victoria's betrayal, Rachel's loyalty and brilliance had helped push Sentinel's capabilities beyond what anyone thought possible. Their twin daughters, now 7, showed signs of inheriting both parents' intelligence and determination. "How's Amanda handling the expansion?" Nathan asked, referring to Thomas's wife, who had risen to become CFO of the entire Sterling Morrison Group. "Thriving. She's implementing the new financial protocols across all subsidiaries. No one can sneeze without proper authorization." The lessons of betrayal had shaped their corporate culture. Sterling Morrison was known for 2 things: unbreakable security and zero tolerance for disloyalty. Miguel Ramirez, now Chief Technology Officer, had transformed Sentinel into the world's premier security system. His team's innovations had made Sterling Morrison the undisputed leader in cyber defense. Miguel's latest project is revolutionary, Thomas continued. AI-driven threat prediction with quantum-resistant encryption. The NSA is practically begging for access. Catherine Walsh, who had risen to Executive Vice President of Operations, ran the company's day-to-day activities. Her brother's tech startup, funded by Nathan years ago, had become a valuable subsidiary of Sterling Morrison. Catherine's brother just landed another defense contract, Thomas noted. His drone technology paired with Sentinel security protocols is unbeatable. Laura Chun, their general counsel, had built a legal department that struck fear into corporate raiders and competitors alike. Her partnership with Rebecca Turner, now Deputy Director of the FBI's Cyber Division, maintained Sterling Morrison's close ties with federal authorities. Laura's team just shut down another attempted corporate espionage operation, Thomas reported. Some of Blackwell's old associates tried to infiltrate through a shell company, and they're facing federal charges. Rebecca's task force handled it personally. Captain James Cooper, recently promoted to police commissioner of Boston, continued providing valuable intelligence through his expanded network. His corporate crimes task force had become a model for departments nationwide. Cooper's team just closed another cold case, Thomas added. Found more evidence linking Blackwell to suspicious deaths from 15 years ago. Richard Blackwell remained in federal prison, his empire destroyed, his reputation ruined. His repeated attempts to secure leniency through information had been met with silence. Nathan's revenge had been complete and irreversible. Blackwell sent another letter, Thomas mentioned. Claims he has information about corporate conspiracies in Asia. Nathan's response was cold. Let him rot. Victoria's fall had been even more dramatic. The former socialite had never recovered from her public humiliation. After years of entry-level jobs and failed attempts at redemption, she had retreated to a small town in Maine, working as a marketing consultant for local businesses. Heard anything about Victoria lately? Thomas asked. She tried contacting Rachel last month. Wanted to apologize, claim she'd changed, and Rachel blocked her number and reported the harassment to Laura. The Pierce family, Victoria's old money relatives, had suffered their own downfall. The federal investigations Nathan triggered had exposed decades of political corruption and financial fraud. Their once mighty dynasty had crumbled. Dr. Isabella Romano, recently released from prison after serving time for money laundering, had attempted to revive her conscious infidelity movement. The effort failed spectacularly when Laura Chun released additional evidence of her criminal enterprises. Romano's trying to publish a book, Thomas mentioned. Something about redemption and evolved consciousness. Laura's team is reviewing it for libel as we speak. Diane Martinez, now Chief of Strategic Development, had transformed Sterling Morrison's corporate culture. Loyalty wasn't just rewarded, it was ingrained in every aspect of operations. Diane's new employee loyalty program is impressive, Thomas noted. The retention rates are unprecedented. Marcus Reynolds and his security team had expanded into a full-scale corporate intelligence division. They didn't just protect Sterling Morrison's assets. They gathered information on potential threats before they materialized. Reynolds flagged some suspicious activity in our Asian markets, Thomas reported. Possible corporate espionage attempt. Handle it, Nathan ordered. Make an example if necessary. The business world had learned harsh lessons from Nathan Sterling's rise. Trust, once broken, was irreparable. Betrayal brought total destruction. Loyalty, however, earned rewards beyond measure. Rachel joined them on the observation deck, her presence softening Nathan's expression slightly. Their marriage had proved that true partnership was possible when built on loyalty and shared vision. The quantum lab results are promising, she reported. We've achieved breakthrough in encryption speeds. Their daughters, Sarah and Emma, were already showing interest in the family business. Sarah had her father's gift for strategy, while Emma inherited her mother's brilliance with quantum mechanics. The girls asked about Victoria today, Rachel mentioned. They saw an old article about the company's history. What did you tell them? The truth. That betrayal has consequences, and their father ensures those consequences are permanent. The next generation of Sterling leadership was being groomed with those lessons in mind. Nathan's empire would pass to heirs who understood the value of loyalty and the price of betrayal. Thomas watched his friend, remembering the young man from Boston who'd built an empire from nothing. You've created something remarkable, Nate. Not just the business, the legacy. Nathan's response was characteristic. Power isn't just about building things, Thomas. It's about protecting what matters, destroying what threatens it, and ensuring everyone knows the cost of betrayal. The sun set behind the Nevada mountains, casting the city in golden light. Below them, tourists filled Morrison's original casino, now the crown jewel of Sterling Morrison's entertainment division. None of them knew that their vacations, their devices, their digital lives were protected by systems born from betrayal and vengeance. Catherine approached with the latest security reports. Sir, the new AI protocols are online. Sentinel 4.0 is fully operational. Global coverage? Complete. No digital system can operate without our detection. No threat can hide. Nathan nodded in satisfaction. Victoria had thought him weak for trusting. Richard had mistaken his loyalty for naivety. They never understood that trust, properly managed, was the deadliest weapon of all. The Sterling Morrison Empire stood as testimony to that truth. An empire built on trust, maintained through power, and protected by the understanding that Nathan Sterling never forgot and never forgave betrayal. Rachel squeezed his hand gently. Unlike Victoria, she understood the man she'd married. Success wasn't about being an alpha. It was about building something worth protecting and destroying anything that threatened it. Their daughters would inherit not just an empire, but a philosophy: loyalty rewarded, betrayal punished, power maintained through absolute commitment to these principles. The Vegas lights began twinkling below, a glittering testament to Nathan Sterling's vision. From the ashes of betrayal, he had built something unprecedented, a legacy of power that would endure for generations. Thomas raised his coffee cup in a small toast. To the future? Nathan's smile held the same cold determination that had destroyed his enemies a decade ago. To legacy, and to the lessons that built it. In prison, Richard Blackwell penned another letter that would never be read. In Maine, Victoria stared at photos of her former life. In boardrooms worldwide, executives taught their deputies the cardinal rule of business: never, ever betray Nathan Sterling. The empire grew stronger each year, its foundations built on the rubble of those who had dared to challenge it. The next generation would inherit not just wealth and power, but the understanding that it made it all possible. Trust must be earned, loyalty must be rewarded, and betrayal must be punished so thoroughly that its mere possibility struck fear into those who contemplated it. Nathan Sterling had transformed from a boy in a blue-collar Boston neighborhood into a man whose very name made corporate titans tremble. His revenge against Victoria and Richard hadn't just been personal. It had been a message to the world. The message endured, growing stronger with each passing year. Cross Nathan Sterling, and you don't just lose. You cease to exist. And there you have it. Another story comes to an end. What did you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy this story, consider joining our community by subscribing. It means the world to us. For more stories like this one, check out the recommended videos on screen. And I'll see you there.